strong the three-wheeler is. I mean, this thing's my like right-hand man. But man, putting these tires on, look at the fucking skid marks. Whew. Thank God my driveway ain't white. We're here because one of my returning customers brought me their Ferris zero turn. And this zero turn is a nice commercial unit. They made these things to last. But he brought it in today because it doesn't want to start. He's got, it won't turn over, won't do nothing. He says the battery's good, but it just doesn't do a damn thing. So let's do an overview of this Ferris zero turn and check it out. So what we have here is an older Ferris. It's a Pro Cut Z. I don't know if it's a 60-inch deck. Yeah, it looks like a 60-inch deck. It's either like a 54 or a 60-inch. But this is an old badass unit. They literally don't make these the way they should anymore. And Ferris did a really good job with this type of mower. When everything's fabricated, everything's heavy, just like your typical X marks. But what's awesome about these is the weight distribution. So the motor sits way farther back than a lot of other zero turns, and that just helps with weight distribution as well as elongated frame for the wheels. So they did really good job with power weight distribution. But this commercial motor is badass. You get two very nice fuel tanks in the center, like right under your ass instead of along the sides here, which some people love, some people hate. But this has twin hydros, and it's got twin oil filters for each hydro. Yeah, overall this is a nice unit. It's got the Kohler Command 25. That's a decent engine, and this is a commercial unit. So this zero turn's only got 850 hours on it. That is awesome. You don't see zero turns this age with so many low hours. I mean, everything is replaceable in this unit. They use like real bearings and stuff, so these are nice. Sad to see that it doesn't want to start, but when in order to run this thing, you need to make sure you have all your safeties and safety permissives met. And what I mean by that is there's a safety switch on like this arm lever here, and if it's not in the neutral position, the safety's going to sense it and it's not going to start because it's a safety precaution. It doesn't want this thing to walk on you when you're moving. So you got to make sure you have this met. You got to make sure that your PTO is off, because there is a circuit loop protector that if it senses voltage here, it's not going to start. You're also going to have a switch here, which is your safety seat switch. These go bad as well. To bypass your safety switch, you want to make sure your e-brake is on. So, and there is a sensor on the e-brake. So if the sensor sees the e-brake and that you're off the machine, it's going to start. In theory, the current status of this should have all the safety permissives met, and it should want to turn over. So if I turn the key on, I don't hear anything click. I don't hear any solenoids go. And I hear nothing. So it sounds like it's dead. It's almost like the battery is completely dead. Now the customer said that the battery was good, but we gotta get the meter out and we gotta start testing and checking things, because this thing should start. Let's put this on DC and let's see what we got voltage wise. So I'm reading 12.5 volts. That tells me that we have a very good battery. So 12.5 volts. This is a good battery. And if in theory, whenever you turn the key on your mower or your car, you should drop voltage. So I'm going to turn the key on, and look at that. I get no voltage drop. Key on, no voltage drop whatsoever. So I literally have no power going anywhere. This is interesting because I would at least like to, even though this doesn't start, I would assume I would get some voltage draw. But let's take a look. We might have to find our primary fuse to see if we blew that. So I just got done blowing this shit out of all this fuse block here, and a couple things I noticed. One is, there was a ton of debris that came out of this thing. But the other thing I noticed is that on my one positive wire here, like half of the wires are broken off. I don't know if you can see that, but they're like flared up. Anyway, I'm gonna have to pull this one out because that should not be that way. Now, I don't think that's what caused this to get so hot, but you never know. So either way, I'm gonna take this one out and let's evaluate the positive. Let me reset this because I'm not even too sure how this was even working in the first place, because this was crimped on and it was pulled up like that. I don't even know how this was working. This connector looks fine, so I'm going to strip this back and reseat this. Alright, so because that fuse box was melted so bad, I decided to put my own separate inline fuse in. I'm going to maintain the fuse block for the positive. The best thing would be to replace this whole thing, but this is a cheaper thing. I have it laying around and the customer didn't care. So we'll make it as cheap as possible for the customer, and this is perfectly fine. So in here I have a 20 amp fuse, just like we had before. This is just a glass fuse. And then here I redid the wiring so that way it's hooked up properly. So I'm wondering if this really was a big part of the problem causing arcing. It's very feasible. Now getting these back in here is a pain in the ass. So now that we got that fastened, let's put a 15 amp fuse in. Why a 15 amp? Because if there's any loose connections, this 15 should blow right away. So let's do the same test again. I'm going to put my meter on the negative, and now let's test if I got voltage across this terminal now. So let's see, coming in, we have 12.41, and you see that look, it dropped. I think that's because my key switch is on, so I'm assuming I got power, good power now. Alright, so I'm going to turn the key on. Let me push the safety in for the arm. Let me pull the PTO up. Wait, you hear that? So that's good. So that means we got good power now, and the safeties are met to... The safety should be met, so let's try to turn it over. Okay, get here, power go to the solenoid. Alright, it's not turning the solenoid over. So why would it not turn over? Alright, we got further than where we originally are, so that's cool. So now we gotta see why we can't turn the engine over. Alright, so something wacky is definitely going on here. So I got this relay just hanging out like a fart in the wind. And I have this negative also hanging out like a fart in the wind. So where's this negative supposed to go? Oh, what the fuck is going on here? Okay. So I think this is not ground. I think this is my positive loop. Man, this is wonky. Yeah, check that out. Man, no wonder it's not turning over, because this is the starter for the motor. So let's turn the key off. How the hell did that happen? Well, you know what? I bet you he's probably troubleshooting. It was like, what the fuck's going on here? Trying to figure that out, and couldn't. There we go. Let me turn this on. Let me turn this key switch in. Look at that. Okay, so that was it. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well that's good news. So I think we're gonna be okay. Clearly she will turn over, which is nice. Let me try to run this thing. It's going to be hard with the handle like that, but see if this thing decides to run away. Okay. Alright, so she's running. That's cool. I'm not trying to die of exhaust smoke, so I'm going to button this back up. I'm going to put a 20. Was this a 20? Yeah, I'm going to put a 20 amp fuse back in, and I'm going to run the hell out of this thing and see what's going on. You know, someone in the YouTube comments stated that I look homeless. That's good. I get a lot of people that ask me, why do you, Brad, why do you do this stuff? You know, you work for a good company. Why not do other stuff with your time? And, well, I want to do this full time. So, if I want to do this full time, this is what I'm passionate about, then I got to work damn hard to try to make it possible. You know? Fucking thing sounds like a Harley. Yeah, so like the grass is wet and like I'm not slipping at all. That's like the key of like these Ferris's weight distribution. So I've been running this thing for hours, and it hasn't failed once. I mowed with it, ran it, started it, stopped it, like probably 20 times. I can't get it to short itself, so I have to assume I had dirt and debris creating like a short, creating a lot of heat, and I think that's probably what caused us to blow that fuse. I did have some loose connections on that relay pack, which I snugged up on and I reconnected. That could also have been a contributing factor. But needless to say, I called the customer, I told him what was going on, what I found, and he wants a mower back. He wants to try it and use it. So we'll see if this issue comes back. But right now, we're good. All right, we say we deliver this puppy. See you next time.